You mentioned Jacques, and we had Sean Chambers on the pod too. He was obviously a former North Star, Dallas Star. He said
I covered him with the Lightning, Sean Chambers.
Yeah, in the original team there.
Yeah.
He said he learned more in his first 2 weeks with Jacques than he did his entire career. And that was like, he played for Hitchcock and all the other, he played for really good coaches. Like, give me any favorite stories with Jacques that kind of illustrate what made him such a unique guy?
I remember talking to Willie Mitchell one time, defenseman for the Minnesota Wild, and he was telling me the same thing. And Willie, I think, had played with him a little bit in New Jersey before he came to the Wild. But he was telling me that he said that Jacques was talking about like playing a guy coming down the wing. And Jacques was telling Willie Mitchell, he goes, make sure you look at his inside skate, the skate that's closest to the center of the ice, and which way it turns, because that'll determine which way. And Willie's like, wait, what? I do what? Like he said, I never imagined, like Jacques was so far ahead. Mike Farber from Sports Illustrated said one time, he may have even written it, that Jacques would have been perfectly content just to play a game of hockey like on a whiteboard with just like pieces.
Yeah.
Like that was his ultimate, just coach it, how to coach the game. And the players are almost like incidental to the whole thing. But just sort of the sophistication of just how detailed he could get. And I was just amazed. I was just blown away. And like Willie Mitchell, like he would tell you little things that players never thought of, or coming down on a 2-on-1 while shorthanded. Like never shoot towards the opposite, never try to go far side on the goalie because the puck will wrap around. And Willie Mitchell was saying, like, I just shoot the puck. And he'd tell me, like, I should be aiming for this post or that post. And that's the type of thing that it was just really cool to watch him and also how to handle, like he would have practices some days that would literally last like 15 minutes. He just wanted to get him there, get him on the ice, skate him really hard, and then say, go home. And I think how he dealt with players. He was a superstar himself. He's one of the few players who was a Hall of Fame player who then went on to become just an elite coach. A lot of times you don't always see that. Sometimes great coaches weren't great players necessarily, or players at all, like a John Cooper. But I don't know, just the smartest guy I've ever been around. Hockey-wise.
And how is he with the media too? Like I know we had Torts, and he's unique. John Cooper, smartest guy.
Yes.
He'll tell you that too. But very funny, sense of humor. Like he's obviously unique in that way. And I would always imagine Jacques, like for as smart as he was, I don't think he was a guy who would explain everything to you, right? He's kind of
no. And I remember the first time we sat down with Doug Risebrough, and it was Greg Johnson was the writer for the Pioneer Press back then, the first year. And we went over sort of what are the ground rules? What do you off the record, on the record, on background, and we went over all that. And then we had that conversation with Jacques, and I said, Jacques, how do you feel about off the record? He said, I will never go off the record with you. Everything I ever say anywhere is on the record. Now, he said that because half the time he wouldn't tell you anything, but I appreciated going in that if you quoted him in the paper, it was something he had actually said, and he wasn't going to come back to you and say, I didn't mean for that to get in the paper,
Yeah.
So, and also too, it was really cool. He treated the everyday media a little bit differently. I think I told you a story before, Joe. We were in a press conference after a game, and somebody who's not there every day. It wasn't from one of the main papers or radio stations. It was sort of a fringe type of media person. Asked a really bad question, I thought, and Jacques answered it. And then maybe later on, I asked kind of an awkward question, and he jumped me for it, like in the press conference, and kind of embarrassed me a little bit in front of everybody. And I remember after, I was kind of sour about it afterwards. And so we walk out, and I waited for him outside the room, the media conference room. And he comes out, and I said, hey, what was that about? And he goes, well, what kind of question was that? I go, okay, I asked a bad question, but I said, I asked it, and you jumped me. The other guy asked it, and you didn't say anything. He said, you should know better. And that's why I said that to you. And in sort of a weird sort of way, I'm like, okay, I kind of respect that,
Yeah.
So I like the fact that he was always on the record. He had a better sense of humor, and sometimes he let on, but I liked how he dealt with the media for the most part.